kids differently than most anybody else would. Just as a parent, you know what I mean. You see every aspect of your children. My kids could spend the night at a neighbor's house, come back the next day. My neighbor's like, your kids are the greatest kids to ever walk the planet. And I'm like, for real? They're jerks at home. Because I see every emotion that comes out of these kids. That's the blessing of being a parent. Hopefully my neighbors don't. But it's just a different perspective. And so we do see these songs differently just because we spent so much time with them. Now, all that to say, this next song is kind of an exception to the rule. Like, this song was written just for me. You're allowed to listen in, but I really think it was just written for me, is what it feels like. Because it's something I need to be reminded of every day. You see, I grew up in a little bitty Southern Baptist church outside of Dallas, Texas, and taught me a lot of amazing things, but I think it's safe to say legalism was alive and well, to say the least. I was taught that the cross was enough, but here's 10 more things you can do just to make sure. So I was the overachiever, man. If they told me to do something twice, I would do it 10 times, because I certainly wanted to make sure the God of everything not only noticed me, but that he liked me more than you people. That's at least the way that I acted. So I thought if I could spin enough plates and jump through enough hoops and God could see all this good stuff I was doing, that he would overlook the bad. I got really good at being religious. Well, thank God for grace. And there's a big difference. Religion will tell you to get it right. Grace will tell you I'll be there when you cannot. And I think my problem for the most part was that I spent most of my life believing that I was a bad person trying to be good. Man, I'm Southern Baptist, which means I can make you people feel really bad about yourself. And night after night, I would stand on stages just like this one. I would pray prayers like, God, we stink, God. Our hearts are vile, they are wretched. If we choose, we will choose wrong every time. God, we are nothing without you. Now that last part is true. But is it possible that God's standing there saying, you know what? You used to be unworthy. You used to be unrighteous. You used to stink pretty good. But because of that whole big deal I made on the cross, you are now a brand new creation. Brand new. I was brand new at 13 when I came to know Christ. Had that new car smell, straight out of the box. But then somewhere along the way, I started believing the lies of the enemy that told me that every time I would fall down, the new would kind of start to wear off. And if you believe that long enough, you're certainly going to fall down enough times to believe that eventually the new is completely gone. Well, that's not the gospel. On your worst possible day, if you know Christ, then Christ remains in you, and you remain new. On your worst day. Because it's never been about what we do. Thank God our identity is not wrapped up in the things that we do. Now this goes both ways. You may be one that goes to church every time the doors are open. You sit on the front row. You've got the biggest Bible or iPad, whatever you carry. You know every word to every Chris Tomlin song ever written. You're like, surely I'm godlier than the person sitting next to me who can barely stay awake. If you're brave enough to say that's you, I'm just going to say that if you're doing this, trying to jockey for position, thinking that God might like you more, stop wasting your time. If you're doing it because you're trusting that what he has done for you is enough, that it's an overflow of that, then carry on. If everything goes through one ear and out the other tonight, the only thing I want you to remember is this. There's nothing you can do to make Christ love you any more than he already does right now. It's not about what we do, it's about what the cross has already done. Now maybe you're on the other end of the spectrum, you're like, man, I never go to church. In fact, if people do the things I've done, I'd be kicked out of the club. Well, what I want to say to you is that you are not your guilt and you are not your shame. Yet we keep carrying it around with us as if it's a part of us. And if the God of everything chooses to remember your sin no more, maybe you should give it a shot. That's not who you are.